Dawn Reese is the CEO of the Wooden Floor. It's a community in Orange County that takes students in ages 8 to 10. They make a 10-year commitment to them where they teach them dance, they teach them the arts. They also help with tutoring and counseling if needed. Every year, hundreds of students, they actually call it an audition, and they have to turn down 80% of them. But they stay with them. They make a 10-year commit all the way through high school, all the way to 12th grade. The children go to school and they come to the Wooden Floor right afterwards. They have a 100% success rate of graduation, 100% success rate of going to, continuing higher education afterwards. It's all donation based by donors, by corporations in the area. There's no, donors that have their kids that went to. Generally, it's low income neighborhoods that attend uh, this Wooden Floor. It's absolutely amazing with everything that you hear that's happening in our society, all the negativity. You have this wonderful campus. There's 2 locations now that are teaching kids art. Their hashtag is dance is the answer. What a wonderful hashtag that is. Dawn Reese, the Wooden Floor. Wait to hear this conversation, what's happening there. They have partners. There's one that opened up in DC. It's going to be spreading around that follow this formula. The Wooden Floor. Great conversation. I know you're going to like it. Thanks for listening. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz. People ask me, how did I lose 130 pounds? The quick answer is always discipline. I started my business, wasn't paying attention to my health, was eating too much, drinking too much sweets. My daughter was born. Next thing I know, I'm pre-diabetic, I have hypertension. I knew something had to change. Discipline. I, like many of you, have faced many challenges in your career, in your family, in your life, in your faith. How did you attack them? How did you approach them? How did you solve them, hopefully? It all had to have some degree of discipline. I'm also asked, how did you found and start a tech business that lasted over 25 years? Discipline. I was committed to it, enjoyed technology, didn't enjoy some aspects of it, but knew it was necessary. Discipline. Our podcast mission: how do we use discipline to better ourselves and society? Join me, please, as I talk to interesting people and discuss how they use discipline in their family, in their passion, in their careers, and how it helped them. Our podcast vision: growth through learning from others. Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. It'll be light and serious. Join us, please. Thank you for consideration. So, how can the arts help end or cure poverty?
Are we on live? Or do you want me?
That's it. Start right away.
Okay, I didn't know if we were live. Um, well, at the Wooden Floor, we transform the lives of young people from low-income communities through the power of dance and access to higher education. We believe in the transformative power of art in order to alleviate poverty. And we do that through a 10-year journey that we make in a commitment to children over that period of time. It's a complex endeavor because it's not a short term proposition for us because of that 10-year commitment that we make to the children and their families. So we begin with the children in 3rd grade and we stay with them all the way through high school. And even into college, we offer them a college scholarship. So we offer them services in elementary, middle, and high school. They're all integrated with academics, college career readiness, and social services. And that's our wraparounds around our dance education programming that's really focused on ballet and modern dance. And our modern dance approach really challenges our students to really think creatively, but also collaboratively, really learn how to communicate with one another, and also use critical thinking and really challenge who they are in their place in the world and the world around them, and be really courageous when they leave the Wooden Floor. And so 100% of our students graduate from the Wooden Floor, and they 100% also immediately enroll in higher education since 2005.
Absolutely amazing. And you have these, what you call an audition where you're looking when they first come into your program. And like you said, they're between 8 and 10 years old, and they have to demonstrate enthusiasm for movement. And of course, they have to have financial need. What do you have? Do you have to turn a lot of students down? What is that process like?
Unfortunately, we usually have about 250 to 300 students line up for only about 80 spots each year. And that's due to space
Wow.
constraints. So we turn away, unfortunately, about 80% of the students that line up as early as the night before. Our auditions start at 8 o'clock. Usually, I say usually because COVID put a little wrench in it last year. We moved our
Mm.
fall audition into spring last year. We're having our auditions this October. It's always the third Saturday of every October. And we are expecting at least 250 students to line up. And some of them line up as early as the evening before at midnight. And we tell them they don't have to because as long as they're lined up at 8 o'clock in the morning till 1:30 in the afternoon, they have the opportunity to audition, but they sleep on the ground with their parents because they know it's an opportunity to have their life changed, to join the wooden floor. But we tell them we don't want them to be tired. We want them to take care of themselves and we want them to be safe. But unfortunately, we can't dissuade them from doing that. And so we have moms and parents who actually show up around 3 o'clock in the morning and provide food for the families and make sure they're taken care of till we can get there around 8 o'clock and start the auditions. So what happens during auditions is our families um, are in line for about an hour and a half, and students go through about a 3-step audition process where they warm up, they learn some activities that they're going to be auditioning. We don't expect any dance training because they are low income. We just really expect the students to have enthusiasm and some coordination and understanding that they want to have their life changed by the wooden floor. And then we'll do the rest. We'll work with them on the rest of their journey once they join our organization. And then they go through an auditions where our faculty are looking for things of coordination, creativity. They give them prompts like spell your name through movement. And you can see some students are super enthusiastic, and some students maybe are a little more reticent. And so, unfortunately, some students really stand out, and others maybe need to come back a second time. Then, so as long as they're under 10 years old, they can re-audition each year. So we audition students between 8 to 10 years old. And we always bring students in now young because we like students to start with us as soon as possible so we can help them and their families pave the way to their higher education future.
Absolutely amazing. And you said the audition process. They're spelling their names through movement. So are these children, are they dancers by any kind of they're low income, so they probably can't afford it, but they love to dance. Are they also musicians? Are they all in the art, or is it arts, or are they primarily dance movement?
Nope, they're just everyday kids who are in school. We bring in a dance education program that each September, the first 3 weeks from the end of September into the beginning of October leading up to our auditions day. It's called Dance Free Weeks. We go into all Title I schools in Santa Ana, Orange, Anaheim, and Tustin normally. This year we're in about mainly Santa Ana schools for 2021 because of COVID. And we really focus on just any student that wants to move. That's really the goal. And really wants to love what we're trying to accomplish with them, maybe wants to have some academic support, or also wants to their families see a bigger goal for them towards higher education, because we're known in the community that 100% of our students go to college, that we're well known. We are founded in 1983 and we're celebrating our 38th anniversary, so we're very well known for our outcomes in the community. So word of mouth is also another way that our families line up. I just heard today we just literally started promoting our auditions on Friday, and we already have 25 students sign up already. So it's
Wow.
pretty amazing that I was actually surprised myself because we just started our dance free weeks today in the schools. And I asked our marketing team, I said, wow, how did that happen? And they said, just from social media and our parents, we send flyers home to our parents to spread the word. So our parents are helping us spread the word too because they know how much their children benefit from the wooden floor. And in 2018, we actually grew from 375 students to 475 students. We were able to open up a second location. That was a goal of our organization since we created a 10-year vision in 2010 to grow, to increase our impact because we saw we were having so many children line up that unfortunately we weren't able to enroll. And we made a commitment. And I said to our board, I said, what's going to happen is we're going to take that extra 100 students, but we're going to be back to the same problem the very next year because we're going to have the same 300 plus students line up
Mm.
again. And unfortunately, we're back to that same challenge. It's really a space issue and obviously a resource issue. We do not want to grow for growth's sake. We want to grow with prudent growth and make sure that we're fully funded when we grow. And so we want to make sure that when we grow, we don't um, cause the organization to, it goes back actually to discipline. We want to make sure that we do a discipline growth where we don't have the organization falter, and with the 10-year journeys of our children that we cast this vision cast for them, that we don't want them to have their vision falter because we start to falter. So what we do is we raise 10 years of operating for that second location before we even open the doors. So when we opened our second location in 2018, we raised 10 years of operating revenue for it. And so we're just investing that revenue over the next 10 years plus.
Incredible. And so is it a full-time arts and academics? Or so it's replacing their school, correct?
No, it's after school. So they've
It's
gone to their
supplemental.
an average day as a student goes to their average day of the student. They go to their full school day, Monday through Friday, like they normally would. At the wooden floor, they'll take between 2 to 4 classes per week. And on the day that they may need academic tutoring or their college and career readiness classes or some of our social emotional workshops that we have, psychoeducational workshops we have, they'll have those workshops as well on those days. And then if they need to see a counselor, we also offer counseling, and we'll have it all on that same day. So traditionally, the parents don't have to go back and forth to campus. With COVID, we're offering most of our wraparounds still virtually. They've done really well in the virtual environment, especially counseling. So we look that we may be continuing with counseling in a virtual environment, as well as some of our tutoring and other types of wraparound services. But we realized dance has to be, if possible, in person. We were offering dance uh, almost 60 classes online from day one of the pandemic, that literally that very next week in March we were fully running everything remotely. And it was really amazing to witness what our students and families were able to do.
Absolutely amazing. So these children are then, all usually bad things. A lot of crime happens between 2 and 5, those hours following school with students. So you're providing a place for them to go. They're getting instruction. They're getting dance training. Your videos are incredible. I watch some of the graduates, and it's just so moving and so motivating. I love that you call your students superhumans.
Yes, they're powerful. Yeah, we
So
they're
amazing.
especially in the midst of COVID. They in midst of COVID, they inspire us every day, and what they can accomplish on any given day. I always tell our staff is even on our, worst day, we're having one of those, days we're not feeling blue, or maybe we're having a bad day, it never can be close to what sometimes our students and our families go through. And so we just have to always remember that, but they always come in with a bright smile on their face, and a hopeful, really hope for their future. And that's really what the wooden floor is about, is that even in the midst of your challenging times you have in your life, um, and it doesn't mean Pollyanna, right? It doesn't mean like you're not acknowledging that you have a challenging time, but that you do keep a bright, optimistic future for yourself, and with hard work, and determination, you can, and if that's your choice, we always try to make that with the children, that we're going to help you get through that, and help you get through whatever you want to set your mind to do.
And it's so inspiring to see that. And you're completely nonprofit. You're based. You have donations. You have donors. How does the state of California? How are they with nonprofit organizations?
Well, so there's two. There's in the arts community, and then there's also just nonprofits in general. I can talk about a couple of things. So we are privately funded. I would say about 95% of our funding comes from private sources of individuals, corporations, and family and private foundations. And we're very fortunate to have a living community of support, um, in Orange County, and also nationally and now international. We have an international funder today. Um, California and Orange County, has some nonprofit, especially because of COVID, have some opportunities for government funding. We have never been traditionally government funded ourselves, but through COVID relief funds, we've actually had several opportunities through PPP loans and other American Rescue Plan grants, which turn into grants instead of loans if you use them properly. And that's why ourselves, our board, and myself have felt comfortable in going after those loans. We carry no debt in our organization, and no short or long term debt. And so that's something that we are also disciplined about.
Hmm.
And we didn't want to, even in the midst of the pandemic, do that. And so we felt like we could go after and seek those funds, because if we use those funds properly, we could then have them forgiven. And so we have, and then also we are funded federally through the National Endowment for the Arts. They have several really wonderful grants, and also California Arts Council. They've received a lot of money through the California budget. They used to only receive only $1 million a year, and I think this year they're getting close to $35 million. Their budget's coming from California due to the surpluses. And so those funds are going to be eligible for creative youth development dollars that we're hoping to be able to access towards our model that we're doing here at the Wooden Floor. But traditionally, it's all about making sure that our individuals, corporations, and foundations really feel engaged in our model, feel close to the mission, know the students' stories of impact, is really what our focus is of our model. It's not that we don't seek government funding, it's just for us, government funding doesn't always provide the flexibility that we like to have, because we're very innovative, and we like to know that if something we were piloting or something we want to do maybe isn't working, maybe we want to pivot and change and go in a different direction on it, because we get feedback all the time from our students and families. We can do that on a moment's notice, but sometimes when you have those government resources, they can be a little cumbersome. And so it gives us that flexibility we need when we can go to our donors and say, it's not working. They'll say, of course, let's go in a different direction.
Very interesting. And you say you have to turn down about 80% of the students. Is this because of you don't have enough budget for the 10-year commit for each one, or is it a space issue? Is it both? Because I know you're thinking about opening a third school as well, correct?
Right, space. It was a space commitment. Right. It's a space. And so we decided right before the pandemic, we were going to look to open a third, and we decided not to. It wasn't related to the pandemic. It actually was, we wanted to forward fund that third location, and we got to the end of our comprehensive campaign the fourth year, and we just felt like it wasn't the right time. We had about half the commitments we wanted towards that forward funding. We just felt it wasn't the right time. We made the decision not to do it because, again, we didn't want to kind of commit and then hope to raise the money for those 10 years.
Mm.
We just don't, that's not our business strategy we have here at the Wooden Floor. So, but I'm very hopeful that, that, we, by staying focused and strategic like we are, I believe that in this next 10-year vision we just cast 2131, that I believe there may be another opportunity to grow and to accept more children. We just don't know what it looks like in the midst of the pandemic. We're being very conservative right now. We want to take care of our children. That's our number one priority, and our families. As I said earlier, our goal isn't to grow for growth's sake. We know we have outstanding income, outcomes. We know we could we could keep growing and we could keep doing that. But for ourselves, we just want to make sure we're really prudent and strategic in the ways we do things, because we want to make sure that we just don't falter.
Yeah, that's very commendable and well disciplined. We talk about discipline. You mentioned it. The students themselves, do they have to maintain a certain GPA and a certain standard in order to stay at the wooden floor?
So we don't have a GPA requirement, which I think is the beauty of the organization. We have students that
Mm.
arrive at our doorstep and we have no idea what their GPA is. And like I said, 100% have still, who've left, graduated from the Wooden Floor, have gone on to enrolled in higher education. We
That's
have
right.
students start with us at 1.0, and we have students who leave, at 4.6. It's a wide breadth of students. We have students that stay at that, 1.0, 2.0, maybe their whole time with us, but that's okay because we're helping them with remedial support and tutoring, and maybe they have an IEP or something with the school going on, or some learning challenge at that, but that's okay for us. And then, the students that are in that 2.5 to 3.5, that we're going to help that student really focus on, is it community college, or is it maybe a, public university, or Cal State University, maybe. And then for that 3.5 to 4.0 plus student, is it like looking at a private university, a UC, or out of state university for that student? And how do we help that student guide their, but we do have behavior standards. So they have to have an 80% attendance requirement. We have behavior standards in the classroom of our expectations. But, it's really about, respecting our values that we have at the Wooden Floor, and how they're demonstrated within the student body. And then, how are they upholding those values? And, if they really, that's their part of our bargain, how we deliver our services. We let them know that, they're on scholarship of the loving community of supporters that, are helping them, reach their big dreams that they have in life. And their part is to live the values of the Wooden Floor.
Very
Very
admirable. So not
simple.
academic, but yeah, yeah, very simple. So it's behavioral, and I know you
Character
mentioned
based. Character based.
character based. Yeah, I know that you're a Cal State alum. My daughter's currently at Cal State over in Northridge,
Oh,
senior.
okay, great.
Yeah, yeah, she loves the area. So how did the wooden floor begin? How did this all start?
Well, it was started in 1983 by a sister of St. Joseph of Orange. It was in about 40, well, it first started as a summer program that she did as a means to help children. One summer, as stay off the streets with poor behavior. And at the end of the summer, the students didn't want to go back to their everyday life. And they asked her if she would continue with this. And so she had to go and speak to the other sisters, and they said yes, but you have to run it and organize it. And so she did, and so we started at the basement of an Episcopal church in Santa Ana with about 40 students, and over time it grew to about 150, to a second location in Santa Ana in a one room, probably around 1,000 square foot. And then it had the dance education with, I would say, more responsive, which is how nonprofits start. It's always responsive. Like students needed tutoring, or they needed maybe college help. Beth at the time would drive students around and take them places, and it was just a different time. And then it wasn't until we had a couple that came in to see a class. They were the Hunsikers, and they saw their first class, and they were just blown away by the change in the class that they saw, and from the beginning to end of the, just the confidence they saw in the children when they walked in. And it was a group of boys, and they said, wow, there's something in this, we have to help this lady. And they joined, and they were great supporters and a philanthropist, and made a commitment to the wooden floor, and said, you need a permanent home, which became our first location, which we're at our Main Street location, which is a 21,000 square foot custom building for us, with 3 dance studios and an education space and a community center named after the Hunsakers. And we only had 3 staff at the time and 150 students. And then we moved to, they never thought they would ever fill it. And now we're at this location. We got up to 375 and 16 staff before we grew. Now we're at 475 students at both locations. They're only 1 mile from each other, our second location. And then we now are at 49 staff, with our part-time seasonal staff. So the organization's grown. Our budget today is $3.5 million a year annually.
And is Beth
And we've
still
also,
part of this?
she comes to things. She's on our board emeritus. She actually is no longer a nun with the Sister St. Joseph. She actually married about 15 years ago.
Wow.
So she actually was just at
Wow.
our annual concert this summer.
Wow. So you say there's an annual budget of 3.5 million.
And then we
Wow, that's
also
pretty good
have
for
an endowment
475
fund.
students. Hmm.
And we also have an endowment fund as well. Our endowment now is a little over $8 million, which we grew during our campaign that we recently concluded.
And a lot of these donors, do they have children that have been through the system?
No,
Hmm.
they're just people that love our children and what we do in the world. They want to make a
You know,
difference in the
with
lives of others.
sorry, go ahead.
No, that's all I was going to say. That's really, it boils down to, they're just really incredible people, that see the hope that we do in our children's futures, and they know they want to make a difference. It's the best
It's
job I
amazing to me,
have in
Dawn,
the whole
because
world.
yeah, with so much that's happening, such harmful things happening in our country and around the world. I mean, just to see that a place like yours exists, and these people are giving money, and it's not a get my kid in, and that this kind of thing. It seems just benevolent to me. And when I watch the videos, I see these students that are graduating. I want to be a psychiatrist. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a and it's so moving. It's absolutely moving. Well, to use a pun, didn't no pun intended. Uh,
It
your
is,
hashtag dance is the answer.
dance is the answer, right? That's our hashtag. We're actually in the process
Yeah.
of trademarking that right now.
Yeah. How did you arrive to that? That's wonderful.
I don't know. We just keep saying it. We have some things we say all the time, and we just believe it wholeheartedly because we believe it can change societal um, challenges, and but also be an inspiration for many, and especially for children. And we're working to scale our model nationally. Our first partner is in Washington D.C., and we'd look to have more partners around the country like that in other communities. And we know that it's challenging right now in the economy, so we're not that's not an immediate goal for us in the next couple of years. But if we could add a few more partners around in other low income communities. And it's really important for us is that our vision is to transform the lives of young people in low income communities. We actually don't put the the emphasis on low income young people. We don't want to label them low income.
Mm,
They're just young people in a low income community, and they don't know they're low income. They're
right.
just in the low income community. So our goal is just to, and it's part of our theory of change you may have seen on our website is that, they reach us um, with unlimited potential, and we take them from there and help them reach their fullest potential. And I always say, I don't know if I've ever reached my fullest potential even today. And, we just hope when they leave the wooden floor that they have positive decision making in their life. And we hope that they can, foster great relationships and develop into just being a lifelong learner and really develop into just making one of the best decisions they can is to be in higher education, go to higher education. But if for those students that down the road, maybe that isn't a choice for them, we'll figure it out with them. We'll make sure that, they'll have a plan when they leave the wooden floor, and we'll guide them to that best decision for them.
You mentioned partners like in Washington, D.C. What do you mean by partners?
So in 2015 or 14, we created a licensed partner model where in a different community, a licensed partner would be able to replicate what we're doing in California
Mm,
in another community under their name. So in Washington, D.C., it's City Dance Dream, and now called the Viva
hmm.
School for Dance. And the idea behind it would be that the licensed partner would implement our model in full, and we would give them the opportunity because it's not like a franchise. We would give that partner the opportunity to modify our curriculum because they know the needs of the community they serve differently than we do. But we would give them what we call wooden floor in a box and provide consulting to implement that model in the community, and then create a licensed partnership over a 15-year period with them. And we did that
So
with
it's
City Dance in 2015.
so it's like you're franchising.
We call it licensing because we didn't want to franchise because we didn't want to. It's not called wooden floor in that community, and we also didn't
Uh,
want the responsibilities of everything that it takes with franchising. We just wanted to scale our impact in that community and really allow the licensed partner the flexibility to implement the curriculum as they best see fit in order to meet the needs of the community. We only ask our licensed partner that they implement our theory and change in full, which is dance at the center, student transformation with the wraparounds of academics, college career readiness, and family services.
have many students actually returned to the wooden floor to be a part of the staff to help teach, to help?
Yes, actually, we have some right now on staff, and we've had others on staff before. And we have volunteers of our alumni. We started an alumni professional council in 2018, and that's really starting to go strong, especially in COVID. One of the best things of COVID was happened to us was that we were able to now have all of our alumni meetings online. And so we had our alums coming in from all over the country into our different meetings, where before we'd have it in a room in Santa Ana. And if they were in college at Boston College, they couldn't come into the meeting. So our alums from
Mm.
all over the country, we have an alum in Colorado, and she couldn't come in, so she could dial in. And then also we're having our alumni on our career panels, because a lot of our alum are now into their career professional jobs over the, especially the ones since 2005 we've been tracking. And those alum are really becoming really growing in their careers. So we've been having our career panels, and then we just also in the last 4 years have added two alums onto our board as alumni representative. And then we have one alum who's now a full voting member of our board, after she was our alumni representative. So our goal is to have three alumni on our board of directors by 2022.
And if you,
And we also
let's
have,
say a donor came, oh, sorry.
I was going to add, we also have two parent representatives on our board.
So if you had, let's just say you were able to double that budget based on donors, would you then be able to accept 50% of the students, or you'd have to get another building? There'd be some facilitation involved, correct?
Right. If we would, if someone came in tomorrow and said, I have $10 million for you, what would you need to do? We have a plan for that. I could make that happen. Actually even have a location right now that we can make that happen on. We It's just space is what it is. And then we have to make a decision if we have a plan, if it's within Santa Ana, but we also have a plan if it's within Orange County. So if it's outside of Santa Ana, it has to be its own independent area. So even if it's in Ana, I don't know how much you know about Orange County, but with the freeway system and everything, it feels 15 minutes is not the same as a rural area. So for
Right.
us, Anaheim and Santa Ana is only 15 minutes, but we'd have to have its own independent running facility in Anaheim. So if we were given that opportunity, we'd be able to be up and running, within a couple of years, depending on how fast the build out was in it.
Hmm. So if somebody's listening and they're in, if we just pick I'm in New Haven, Connecticut. If somebody's here and they want to donate to something local that's similar to yours, how could they find? I mean, are there? You mentioned DC and partners like that, but is this a fairly new and unique thing, or is it still in other parts of the country?
There are organizations that are after school dance programs, but there's no that do what we do around the way we do it, and around
Mm.
dance academics and the social services towards the college and career readiness goals that we do. Um, we've inspired a few to try, and they're on trying, but nothing like our licensed partner model. Washington DC is the only one that's a Washington DC model.
Wow. Absolutely, absolutely incredible. So if somebody in the Orange County area, Santa Ana, just general Southern California, were interested, you still continue to look for donors, correct?
Yes, definitely. I mean, it's just we're always looking for, we call them friends, who want
Mm.
to make a difference in our mission. And COVID. One of the challenges with COVID is a lot of our events were canceled. During this time, so we've had to be really creative about how we're doing online events and meeting new people. And one of the number one ways that nonprofits meet new people are through events, social media now, other ways. So we have a great marketing team working with development, making sure that we're doing everything that we can to meet new people, and also steward our current friends that we've had and supporters that love our mission. And personal phone calls home, and just making sure. We've had a lot of people that are older supporters of ours who've been around the wooden floor for 30 plus years, and just checking in on them, making sure that they're okay. And It's as you learn in life, as you get older, is it's about relationships, and um, I've been here at the Wooden Floor now for almost 13 years, and a lot of the supporters have become like close family and friends to me in many ways, and so I care about them, like I would my own family in many ways, including the children and families. Nothing was the best day was seeing our family and our students the day after Labor Day, when we had our first day of class, and we all, when they were in the courtyard coming into classes the first time after since March of 2020, when they came onto campus in this September in
Mm.
2021, and I saw some of the moms that I usually bumped into before, and I got tears in my eyes. It was so great to see them because I was like, it just felt like old home week, like if I was seeing my own relatives. I care about them so much.
Absolutely inspiring. Dawn Reese, thank you so much for your time today. When I first heard about you, I heard about the school. I couldn't wait to talk to you. And I hope more like this happen. I hope there's more places for our youth to go and learn the arts and help our society. So if anybody's in your area, well, actually, they don't need to be in your area. Anybody anywhere can be a friend of the Wooden Floor. How would they reach out to you, Dawn?
The best way to see is our website at thewoodenfloor.org, or they can call us at 714-541-8314 anytime. We'd love to talk with them.
Well, thanks again. You're
And I can
doing
also
wonderful
be seen.
things. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I
Sorry.
also am on I was going to say also I can be seen on LinkedIn.
Yes, your LinkedIn. You've got a lot of great content on the website, even on YouTube. I was watching some of the virtual classes. I was watching some of the graduation performances. Graduation and other performances. Lot of great content there, showing the beauty that you're doing there in Orange County. Dawn Reese, thank you so much for your time. I look forward, maybe eventually even a face-to-face conversation would be great, and I wish you continued success.
Great. We'd love to see you on campus.
Thanks again, Dawn. You be well. Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypins.com. There you'll find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information. The video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Would you like to financially support the podcast? You can go to our Patreon site. Consider $5, $10, or $20 a month. There's all kind of plans that we have there. There's like a one-time payment. What is this podcast episode worth to you? $25, $50, $100, $500, $1,000, $5,000. You be the judge. You can go to our PayPal account to do that as well. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations.